you're studying the fridge or whatever, you know, you keep it there, man, because you're examining it, you're writing on it. Study. What do you think the Willie Lynch letter was about, man?
That's how we know how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, because they were studying us to rot it, man. They were studying us. Imagine that. We was under the fucking... You know, these people were studying us, man. They had our records.
But they're studying us all the time still now.
Willie Lynch, you know, these people, they would say, oh yeah, turn this guy against that. You know, the elder against the young, the woman against the man, destroy the house, you know, get the strongest buck, sodomize him in front of his family. Yeah. You know, all these different methods to try and break us. All right?
So that means that there was a lot of trials and errors throughout that time, because he knew this process works. So it wasn't the process that they tried for the first time and it worked. They tried other things, it didn't work. Let's try this. Yeah. Let's try killing them first. A lot of medicines and a lot of operations. They had to practice on somebody, man.
Yeah.
You know? They had to practice on somebody.
Yeah. But you know what though, in the kingdom of heaven, when the kingdom is set up, everything that Esau did to us, we're gonna do it more so. Because see, the thing with Jake, right? Anything that these nations do, Jake far surpasses.
Yep, that's right.
And man, you know, because me, I'm not gonna lie, right? I like to get into like numbers and, you know, numerology and science. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you got certain brothers that probably know more science than I do, but I like to get into deep things. You know what I mean? I like to look up things. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be studying these Edomites too, man. You're gonna have certain brothers that are gonna get into that spirit, man.
Yeah. And
they're gonna be studying the skull, the makeup of the skull, and how they think and all of that stuff, man. We're gonna get into all of that. You know?
Another thing they were doing, they're experimenting like to get different shades of Israelites. Like if I breed her with him, I want to see what the child looks like from come out of that. You know? Try to breed different brown, different, you know, different shades of brown.
Yeah. Different
textures, you know, different eye colors.
Yeah.
They were breeding us, man, like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we was under that same type of you know, captivity for centuries, man.
Yeah.
All right? But like I said, they know this about us. They know that we're perfect. They know that we're complete. All right? Then it says what? It says that we're
It says complete. It says morally innocent.
Morally innocent.
It says one who is morally and ethically pure.
So they know this about. They know that we're morally and ethic. They know that the root of us as a people, we're morally and ethically pure. If you check our people, we're always into God, man. Very, very into God. Even without religion, even the wickedest of all Jakes, man, believe in God, man. The ones that killed it, wipe out their people, they would have a chain or crossing it, man. The wickedest ones, man.
It's like when
the gangbangers, the stick-up kids, they believe in God, man.
And it's like when we all went to Scotland with this brother, there was a Jake community and there was a church. I saw a church. When this brother was taking me home, or you know, going to take me to the train station, there was a church right in Scotland.
There's churches in every corner, man.
Yeah.
They are either Catholic or Protestants. There's football teams that are based on the fact of church, man. You got the Celtic and Rangers, which are divided between Protestants and you know what's that? Catholics.
Catholic, yeah.
Right.
And it gets passed on to generation. Maybe it's Romans 10:1, and it says, "Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a seal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge."
Right. You bring it on.
Yeah, so you see, Jake, like you said earlier on, man, Jake is always into church, man. Even the most wicked one. The only difference is it's not according to knowledge, to proper understanding of how the Heavenly Father is. Okay? Like this guy that came here, man, all they have, there are 2 Israelite women. They all put out their Bibles and everything. But they think they know, they understand the Heavenly Father, but it's not according to knowledge. It's not according to the proper understanding. The proper understanding has only been reserved for the elect. Okay? Right. The rest of Israel are going to get it later on. But that's why the Bible morally what?
Ethically pure.
Ethically pure. can. And that's why a lot of the times is when they want to promote this homosexuality, they always somehow put Jack, the face of Jack there. In the movies, like there's some program whereby they find that a black family on the program. I believe it's one of the UK shows here, one of the shows here in the UK. And then, but what they've done is they made one of the children turn out to be gay. You know, always trying to push that on our people because they know our people are the first ones that are gonna be like, nah, we don't want this.
Or HIV.
Yeah.
There was some Jake. You know, there. You know what I'm saying? HIV, stop HIV. There's always Jake there.
Yeah.
With a smile on his face or some goofy looking smile, man.
You know, and speaking of DNA, like what the brother's going into, because see, Esau has tried many of times to destroy us as a people. There was even a scientist, this American, Edomite scientist. He came out and he said, look, the government all of this time was trying to kill up the so-called African American population. Okay, this is on YouTube. You can go check it out for yourself. You saw it in it. So this is what Esau always aimed this is what Esau always aimed to do. Is try to destroy the house of Jacob.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not working because that's not within the counsel of the Lord.
Right. I know. Because Esau's been trying to use different experiments going back to the Greeks. Going to the book of Second Maccabees, First Maccabees, showing how Esau had different tools and apparatus to skin us, to cut our tongues, pierce our eyeballs, burn us alive. Use experimenting different methods of pain even back then. Alright?
Oh yeah, to prove that it says because they knew how to because remember the Israelites that were circumcised, they were putting back their foreskins. So they knew how to operate themselves and put that back on. I don't know how they would have done it, but because they were saying those who are circumcised making themselves uncircumcised. So there was points where Jack was actually putting their foreskin back on themselves.
That's messed up. Wait, let's go back to the scriptures. Job.
Job 1:8 says, and the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yahweh and escheweth evil.
Right, so that's us. Alright, metaphorically speaking. Alright, go ahead.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands,
right?
And his substance is increased in the land.
And his substance is increased in the land. So the Most High put a hedge around us as a people and made us great, especially during the time of King David, because the Most High was with King David, man. That's why he was basically invincible during his days, during his glory days, man. Alright, he was unstoppable. The nations feared David, man. Alright, his name preceded him to the point where King Solomon sat on the throne, there was peace for 4 years. King Solomon, or Malak Shalamar, was the king of kings and lord of lords of his time. Alright? So there was like a hedge around us, man. Give me Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1.
Thank you so much.
It's Isaiah 5:1, and it says, now I will sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Touching his vineyard. Alright, go ahead.
It says, my well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill.
What is my beloved? My beloved is talking about the Most High. And has a what? He has a what?
My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill.
Right, so where is the very fruitful hill? The land of Israel. That's the very fruitful hill. That land was called what? The Fertile Crescent. We were talking about that 2 weeks ago. A land flowing with what? Milk and honey. A flourishing land. All right? And that vineyard is what? Us. We're the vineyard. Go ahead.
And it says, and he thirsted and gathered out the stones thereof.
Right, he gathered out the stones thereof. What the stones talking about the other nations. The Most High threw out the heathens, man. The Canaanites. We came through to that land and we conquered them Canaanites. But what happened was when you actually read about it, we actually left a lot of them Canaanites alive, man, which we wasn't supposed to do. We were supposed to wipe them out. But the Lord made the Canaanites to a snare unto us, to prove ourselves against the Lord.
It Amos 9 verse 13.
Okay. The Most High allowed us to be among the Canaanites in order to prove our faithfulness towards the Lord. Even though we were supposed, the commandment was to wipe them out for their abominations. So the Most High gathered out the stones. You got something?
Amos 9 and 13, it says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. And I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof, and they shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them, and I will plant them upon their land, and they shall be no more pulled up out of their land which I have given them, saith the Lord thy power.
Read it down.
Now, the reason why I wanted him to read that because you said that in the Middle East that's the Fertile Crescent.
Right, okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's what's gonna happen. That land is gonna be flourishing again. Okay? So the Most High planted us there. But who's there right now?
Go to rest.
You got the nastiest of the nasties, man. The nasties, man.
Says the worst of the evil.
Yeah. The last of them, man. Okay? You got dogs in there. They're finding the land. Okay? Ruining it, man. That land ain't holy now. That is the complete opposite of holy right now.
Defiling it spiritually and physically.
I mean, you're gonna result in sucking a baby's rod to take the foreskin up. That's how you know that they're like they're the gross out of the heathen. Nasty, like the brother said, the nasty of the heathen, man.
And they take that custom very seriously.
Yeah.
If you ask them about the custom, say, this is an ancient custom.
They ain't been doing it.
They when they talk about sucking off that thing off, they mean that shit, man. That's an ancient thing for them, man. That ain't no joke. They're the worst. Okay?
Baby rod, man. And you know what they was even saying?
Imagine that.
What they was even saying, man, is the kids, the babies, man, catching herpes because of that, man.
Yeah.
Just nasty, man. I mean, it's funny to a certain degree, but it ain't really cool, man. It's just not a cool
That's
thing.
not cool because they're always sitting there watching the rabbi do it to the child.
They're actually physically dirty people as well.
Yeah,
They're filthy.
Yeah.
It says that in the 13th tribe, it talks about how nasty they are,
Yeah.
how unhygienic they are.
Yeah.
And he was a so-called Jew himself. So he was exposing his own, the secrets of his own people. All right. So where was you read that usually we go through
Isaiah 5 and 2, and he thirsted and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine.
and planted it with the choicest vine. Who's the choicest people? Of all the people of the earth, what did the Most High choose? The word choice comes from the word choose. The Lord chose us, the choicest vine. That's where you get the word olive tree from, because the olive tree comes from the vine, right? So the Most High planted us in that very fruitful hill, that olive tree. And the olive tree represents wisdom and understanding. And when you read in the Apocrypha, it tells you that wisdom dwelleth It has its tabernacle within Jacob. Alright, so go ahead.
And it says, and built a tower in the midst of it.
Right, and built a tower in the midst of it. Where is the tower? Thank you. It tells you in Proverbs that the name of the Lord is a tower, that the righteous runneth into it and is safe. So the name of the Most High was among us. Brother's gonna give.
Yeah, this is Proverbs, book of Proverbs 18, verse chapter 10, and it reads, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and is safe."
So we had the name of our God. That's what made us powerful. When King David was conquering nations, was he conquering nations in the name of Baal? Baal Barith? Molech? He was conquering names of nations in the name of the Lord. He even says it in Psalms, man. It says, in the name of the Lord we will destroy them. He tells you that in Psalms, man.
You know what he said when he was fighting up against my man, you know the
exactly.
What did he say? He said in confidence, in the name of the Lord, in the name of Yahweh, I will destroy you. So
exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So when the Lord is with us, we're invincible. Even when you go into Maccabees, read Maccabees, and it will tell you how the other nations that were with the Greeks, when they went up against us, because we was a small force against them, man, and we was fucking them up time after time. Every battle we kept whipping them, man, to the point where they had to decide that we can't win against these people. We might as well make a truce with them because they're invincible. We can't beat them. As soon as Judas Maccabeus and his brethren, we was invincible, man. Every time we entered battle with them, we kept beating them, even though we were small in number. All right? Because we had the name of our power with us, man. And he was fighting for us. When King David wrote the book of Psalms, he said that in the name of the Lord, we would destroy them. Thousands came upon me, but in the name of Yahweh, I will destroy them. Roughly paraphrasing.
This is Judith 5:17, and it says, and whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hated iniquity was with them.
Right.
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and the cities were taken by their enemies.
I don't mean to wear your breath, but I want you to read that again because I like that.
These are Judith 5:17, and it says, and whilst they sinned not before their power,
whilst we sinned not against our God,
they prospered.
They prospered.
Because the power that hateth iniquity
was
the
God
with them.
that hates iniquity was with us, man. Alright? Because we didn't transgress. Go ahead.
And it says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore.
See that? When we depart from our God, that's when we get destroyed. Alright? When we depart from our God, that's when other nations rule over us. Like right now, we got all these other nations ruling over us.
This is serious
why?
thing
Because we departed from the laws of our God. And we broke the covenant. Esau's always got to do this, man.
Nah, that's the Israelite brother. That's a Jacob. That's one attention.
2 Samuel 2. I'll just start at 9. It says, he will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. It says, the adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them.
Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them, where
the Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed.
Right, and he shall exalt the horn of his anointed, man. Okay? That's right. So the Lord is always with us every time we're basically with him. If we're on his side, then the Lord's going to be on our side. And when we switch sides, and we monkey branch onto another God, that's when the Most High said to hell with you then. Alright? So that's how it stays, man. That's how it's always been between us and the Lord. When you read Maccabees, man, I was reading it, you know when you just read a verse and you wind up reading the second verse, you wind up reading the whole chapter, you wind up reading the second chapter. That's what I was in the spirit. And it shows you that we just kept conquering the other nations, man. We just kept beating them back and back every time. Because when you read Maccabees, we were on the defensive. We were pretty much on the defensive. The other nations were on the offensive. They wanted to conquer us because they wanted to subjugate us underneath the rulership of the Greeks. But we wasn't having it, man. Alright? And we just kept beating them back time and time again. You know what I'm saying? Circumcising any of us, the sons, alright? Keeping the Sabbath days. When we was with the Lord, then the Lord was with us, man. So let's go back to Isaiah 5.
Isaiah 5:2, and it says, and he fenced it and gathered up the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine,
Right.
and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein.
Hold on, wait there. There's a scripture that goes into the wine thing. Hold on, try to find this.
We're talking about Amos 9.
Yeah, go ahead. Psalms 80, verse.
You get that?
Start from verse 3.
Psalms 83.
Yeah, because the chapter's good. 80 verse.
Psalms 80 starting at 3. It says, turn us again, O Yahweh, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved.
Right, so cause thy face to shine and we shall be saved. The Lord turns his face towards us. Go ahead.
I got it right here. I got to press it too, brother. Don't need that.
O Yahweh, power of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people?
Right, go ahead.
Thou feedest them with the bread of tears, and givest them tears to drink in great measure.
Go ahead.
Thou makest us a strife unto our neighbours, and our enemies laugh among themselves.
Right, because we were reading about that. We were talking about it. Go ahead.
Turn us again, O power of hosts, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved.
Right, go ahead.
Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt.
Thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. We was reading before how the Lord planted the vine in that very fruitful hill. The Lord brought that vine out of Egypt. Go ahead.
Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it.
Right, we'll cast out what? The stones. So that's why the stones is talking about them heathens. Them Canaanites, man. So the Lord cast out the heathen and planted it. Go ahead.
Thou prepared room before it, and didst cause it to take deep root,
Right,
and it filled the land.
right. So caused room, meaning we started to spread as a nation, man. Alright? We started to spread as a nation, fill out all the coasts. Alright? And we started to spread really during the time of David. Because David was conquering, man. He was putting the murder game down in the Middle East, man. And causing the nations to fear. Alright? Go ahead.
It says the hills, verse 10, the hills were covered with the shadow of it,
Right?
and the boughs thereof were like the goodly cedars.
Right, the boughs were like the goodly cedars. They're just talking about a tree. Go ahead.
She sent out her boughs unto the sea, and her branches unto the river.
And her branches onto a river. Alright? This is the olive tree, man. This is talking about us. Go ahead.
Why hast thou then broken down her hedges, so that all they which pass by the way do pluck her?
Right, we was reading about that in Isaiah. It said, why did you break down thy hedges? And what would it say?
So that all they that pass by the way do pluck her.
why do all they by the way pluck her? Who's they that pass by the way plucking them?
So brother, is this talking about the actual tree?
No, it's talking about Israel.
Because you got a symbol to them read this and think it's talking about something other than what it's talking about, man.
Yeah.
But that's why you gotta have the Holy Spirit to understand these things.
Right. The ones that are passing by that are plucking her are the dogs that's licking up our wounds, man. These heathens, man. Alright? They're forwarding our affliction. Alright? That's these other nations benefiting off of our destruction. Now the Moabites, go over there to Uganda, man. Ghana. You got them groups all up in there making illegal gold mines, alright, trying to take the resources, impregnating the women, breeding up the women.
Not to go off, but just to say, I saw one of them getting given kingship basically in a town over there, a Moabite. They gave a Moabite. They made a Moabite a king.
A king
over African village.
Where?
Yeah,
what?
I can't remember exactly where, but yeah, I saw it.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So now, so Moab is now taking rulership among Jake.
No. No.
That's shows that our people don't have no fucking sense, man. They don't have no fucking sense. Sometimes you look at your people and think, how? Like, why? You know?
They would never allow that. You try that in China, you try that Ammonites, you try doing that.
Never have that. They will never have that. There will be hell to pay before they let a nigga take authority. They might do it as a joke, like just to make mockery. But they'll never seriously allow no Jake to be over them.
But you know, though, it just goes to back up the curses in Deuteronomy. What does it say? No might shall be found in thy
What did the dog do?
This is what I mean about our people talking about loving everybody. You see that? Esau's Christianity dumbed Jake down, man, into loving everybody and accepting everybody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's okay. We love them, you know. Yeah, but they don't love you though. That's what I'm trying to. That's the point I'm trying to make. They don't love you, Negro. They're loving everybody, man. Our people are so beat down that they don't got no integrity, man. Their integrity has been beaten out of them.
No backbone whatsoever.
But if they would never let a Jake be in power in China, man. You know, because them gooks got integrity, man. They ain't letting that happen, man.
And it says in the law too, it says not to set no other nation over you, man.
Exactly, that's a part of the law.
That's a part of the law.
That's in
Deuteronomy 24,
man.
24, I think.
I believe. You're not meant to put
Get that.
a person of another nation as your king. Your king is meant to be of your own people.
It says, verse 13, it says, the boar out of the wood doth waste it, and the wild beast of the field doth devour it.
Right, the wild beast of the field doth devour it. Devour what? That vine, that tree. Because the hedge has been broken down. Because when you go to Jeremiah 14, it tells you how the Judah mourneth, their gates have languished.
Right. Exactly.
Can I bring that?
They got that pride, the pride of Moab, man.
Can I bring it out?
Yeah,
Precept.
The gates that have languished.
The precept about not letting a king be a stranger be a king over you. Deuteronomy, yeah. Deuteronomy 24:17. Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. Wait. Hold on, where is it? I found it, I heard it earlier. Carry on, I'll get back to you.
It's that water. Your eye get water, you ain't it? Your eyes get water, you know.
You know, because we're in a very low estate, and these other nations, they're forwarding the affliction. They're seeing that, they're thinking in their minds that these people don't have no hope. So I might as well just use them for whatever I can. You know? Because you know how we're destroyed? Because we're divided against ourselves. Yahweh Shai said something wise 2,000 years ago. He said when a house is divided against itself, it will not stand. We can't stand as a people because we're too divided. Go to Nigeria. You know how many languages there are in that one country alone? You know how many dozens or hundreds of linguistic tribes are in just that one country? Not including Congo, Angola, Kenya, Uganda. We're too divided, man. So it wouldn't make sense why the other nations would look at us as a people and say, no, there's no hope for them.
Yeah, because they lack the knowledge. Because what does it say in Hosea? I've been known as Baruch. It says in Baruch, it says, for my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because if they knew the knowledge, they wouldn't be setting up no damn Moabite. Studying the group over setting up to be king over their country.
Right, and we were just reading how Esau knows us, man. Esau knows all of this, but he's trying to forward our self-destruction by keeping our identity hidden from us. Esau could easily set up a system where he could condition and train and educate newborn Israelites to know that they're Israelites. You could push forward movies, man, showing so-called black men as being King David and King Solomon, man, and the mighty men thereof. And the so-called native Indian people as being the great warriors in Jacob, man. He could do that easily. But they're not going to do that. Why? Because there's an agenda. There's an agenda, man.
And they're the devil because it's talk about what is it, the red dragon, and he deceived the nations. So he could never do that, man.
Right, and Esau is not. The scripture says that Esau is to deceive the nations.
Right, exactly.
That the only way that Israel is going to come to their knowledge is through the gospel.
Exactly.
Not through the media, not through any movie, not through no educational institution, no primary school or secondary school. That this truth is that this gospel is going to be hit the four corners. That's how the elect is going to get sealed. But anyway, I want to change the topic. Let's go back to I already made the point on that.
I got one quick precept on one for you. Yeah, this goes back to what you were saying how Israel turning back against the Most High. This is Jeremiah 32, verse 32. Because of all of the evil of the children of Israel and of the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets, and the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and they have turned unto me the back and not the face. Though I taught them rising up early and teaching them, yet they have not hearkened unto receive instruction.
Right. So Jake, we brought this upon ourselves. When you read the prayer of who is it? Was the prayer of Manasseh, or was it? Was it Manasseh? It was a prayer of somebody that we brought this upon ourselves. That the Most High has done righteously, or was it the three holy children? I think it was the prayer of the three holy children, saying that the Most High has done righteously in all that He have done against us, but we have done most wicked.
Yeah, I think the three holy children.
I think it was that.
Also, Daniel was in his prayer was the same thing. He said because we have sinned against the Lord, that's why He's brought all the things upon us.
Like literally everything you see out here is because of us. This is the one. The things that we did.
I can bring it out.
Go on.
17, Deuteronomy 17:14 says, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me like as all the nations that are about me. Yeah, I think that's the one. They shall not dwell with